Hello, welcome all of you. So we will discuss about the chapter second, part 1 of the paper second, plant physiology. That's chapter second. We are going to discuss about the absorption of water. So the absorption is water done by the plants. So the plant productivity is largely and mainly affected by non-availability of water. Water is available in soil and thus absorbed by roots. Water moves upward through the xylem to different plant parts. The main source of water in soil is the rainwater. As we all know, the capillary water is held by the thin layer surrounding the soil particles. When the rainwater is being stored in the soil, it gets drained due to the gravitational force. It gets drained out, and the moisture is been present surrounding the soil particles. And this surrounding soil particles, a thin layer is formed, which we know of water. It's known as a capillary water. So this capillary water is a major source of the water for the plants, from which the water can be absorbed. So in this picture we can see how the water moves from the soil to the tip of the plant. Okay, so water from the soil particles are absorbed. From the picture we can see, so water particles, water molecules from the soil particles are absorbed by the root hair and passes from epidermis to the root system of the xylem. So the water molecules from xylem pass from the trunk or the stem, we can say, to various parts of the trees. Example, leaves. So in leaf vein, water moves from xylem to the stomata. For various functions, it's been used for transpiration, for photosynthesis process. It is being used. So this is the basic movement of water in the plant. So now what are the role of water in plant? So about 90 to 95% of water is present in the protoplasm of the plant, which acts as a solvent. So plants can absorb nutrients and minerals when dissolved in water. Okay, when it is present in the soil. Water is used for transpiration carrier and transpiration carrier of nutrients from the soil to the green plant tissues. They are used for photosynthesis and can synthesize food. It helps to maintain the turgidity of cell walls, which helps in the cell enlargement due to the turgor pressure. Okay, and the cell division, which ultimately increases the growth of the plant. Okay. So it is essential. The water is essential for the germination of seeds, growth of roots, flowering, as well as fruiting. So it is essential. Water is essential in hydraulic process in the plant. Water helps in conversion of starch to sugar. So water regulates the temperature and cools the plant. It helps in chemical, physical, and biological reaction in soil. Water provides the support to aquatic plants in the water bodies as well. So this water plays important role in mobility of gametes, which is dissemination mobility of gametes, and also in dissemination of spores and in pollination of some plants. So the water loses the physical and chemical properties in the absence of water. So these are the roles of water in plants. Now what are the mechanisms of water absorptions? There are two types of mechanisms. First is the active and the second is the passive absorption of water. The first, active absorption of water. So water is absorbed actively by utilizing metabolic energy. Water is absorbed by the force developing in the root system. So it occurs in slowly and transferring and well water plants. Okay, so the root cells and the root hairs are actively involved in the system. It takes place by the three major mechanisms. We can say the first is the osmotic, then the non-osmotic, and the third is the electro-osmotic theory. So these are the three theories of the active absorption of water. In that we will discuss about the first one, that is the osmotic absorption of theory, by which was described by the Priestley in 1920. But what is the osmosis? So osmosis, which is the movement of water from a solution of higher potential to the solution of low potential across a differentially permeable membrane separating the two solutions. So, this is the osmosis. Now, how it works? The osmotic pressure between the soil water and the soil sap in the root cell plays important role. Okay, so the osmotic potential of the cell sap in root hair is higher than the soil water. Hence, water from soil enters into the root hair and turgor pressure is formed. So, this increase in turgor pressure lowers the suction pressure and as compared to the adjacent cells. Due to this difference in the suction pressure, water from the previous cells enters into the adjacent cells. So, this water will move from the epidermal cell to the cortex cells, and due to the same principle, water will move into cortical cell to the endodermal cell. So, this picture shows the pathway of water from the soil into the root hairs. So, in this picture we can see the water molecules from the root hair has been absorbed from the epidermis, it passes through the root system, from it passes the cortex, then the endodermal and the pericycle, it enters into the xylem of the plant. The first osmotic potentials in that endodermal cells are the thick with passage cells from which water moves to the pericycle and then into the xylem vessels due to the suction pressure. From cortical cells, water is forced into the xylem vessels as root pressure is developed in cortical cells. As we have discussed from the last picture, the root pressure is sufficient to raise the water up to a certain height of the plant. So, what are the value of the root pressure? We can say root pressure, it depends on the root pressure. So, this totally osmotic pressure theory depends on the root pressure. The value of the root pressure developed up to 1 to 3 atmosphere or up to 6 atmosphere in some plants. Okay. So, this is the theory of osmotic pressure, but there are some objection or the limitations to the osmotic theory of absorption. These are the values. The first one is the values of root pressure, as we discussed now, developed are very low. Hence, in tall plants the mechanism will not work. Okay. So, the root pressure developed is not universally in all plants. It is true. The movement of water from the cortical cells to the xylem cells against osmotic potential gradients cannot be explained with this theory. Okay. So, it totally depends upon the root pressure or the value of the root pressure developed in the atmosphere. We can say 1 to 3 atmosphere are found in general plants, whereas 6 according to this theory we are discussing. Okay. So, the next theory was the non-osmotic absorption theory, which was discovered by Kramer in 1959. So, movement of water requires a lot of energy in terms of ATP, which is released during respiration. So, water is absorbed against the osmotic gradients. Okay. It is being absorbed, that absorption of water occurs even when the osmotic pressure of soil water is higher than the cell sap. Okay. So, evidence to support, there is a very support for giving support by the various scientists. There is a correlation between the rate of water absorption and the respiration. The respiration inhibitors affect the rate of water absorption. For example, we can say as a potassium cyanide. Okay. The rate of water absorption is lower by low temperature and oxygen tension. Water absorption is influenced by auxins, which is the growth regulator which induces water uptake. Again, point is given that the poisonous substance which retard metabolic activities of cells also retard the absorption of water. So, these are the some evidences given for the support of this non-osmotic theory. Whereas the third part we will discuss in the next third part of this electro-osmotic theory active, we are going to discuss in the second part of this chapter, that is the active absorption, this third part, and the Next is the passive absorptions. So till that, thank you very much. Take care. Be